All right. Hey, welcome to the Breaking Hyman podcast. My name is Morgan.
My name's Emily.
And this is the first episode with Snake Pit Studios. Rattlesnake Roy's producing, and we want to thank him for asking us to do this with him.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, and so we are going to talk about divorce today.
Yes.
We're both each divorced, not from each other, from other people.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to go ahead and just show you up here.
Yeah.
I've got two. Okay, so I'm winning the divorce
I only have one
battle. Okay.
I don't want another one. Do you?
No.
No.
I would wanted to say I don't believe in divorce in the first place.
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes it's the better thing and it's happened or whatever. But the truth is, I really wish I could have stayed married. How about you?
Not to that person.
Right. But marriage in general, you wanted to stay there.
For sure. But we're going to have a little bit of a bitch fest about our exes just because we like doing that. That's what, one of the things we bonded over when we first met last year.
I was just going to say either a little bit or a lot because we've both been like really geared up about this. So we were discussing how it may be either, this was a tough time and this was hard, or we're going to go all the way for it and just the middle finger the whole time. Like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. But we're not using the real names of our exes. I'm not going to.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'll use something that rhymes. So, but yeah, and it's not about it's about our trauma and what we've dealt with, and
Also, I make notes and look at things kind of person, but what I did was I thought about this a lot because I've done a podcast with you and Lori before, and we did talk about divorce before, and it was a little more on a serious note, lots of questions, and this is what I found out from that. From doing that podcast, I really was coming from a much more sad place. I was coming from a place where I was trying to be even and fair, and you know what ended up happening anyway?
What's that?
People were upset. People weren't very happy. People, it's just a sensitive subject. And then I started thinking about it. And you know what? Why are we not entitled in the same way when we've lost somebody in another way, maybe even in death or anything else? You're very sad. You're very upset. You're very confused. But at the same time, you're fucking angry. And I just really think that we're entitled to be that sometimes.
Yeah, totally agree. And also, I mean, you said if someone died, I'm mad at cancer, or I'm mad at whatever.
Yeah.
Why can't I be mad at the fucked up things about my ex that caused us to not be together anymore? I mean, I was to blame too.
Me too.
But not as much.
We'll take on all of our responsibilities. But the truth is, you're upset and you're sad, and we do more of that. We have been on our own for such a long time. And so this is the part where you're like, well, do you want me to sit here and cry? Is this what this, are you Dr. Phil?
Yeah.
No. Okay. No, we're not doing that today. So
I could do a Dr. Phil impression.
Can you?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, I could try. It's just vaguely Southern. I'm trying to find the notes for our thing right here so I can just pull it up in front of me.
Screen, it just always shuts off all the time. So it's not like we're like, ooh, we're on TikTok right now or anything trying to look for that. I just want to make sure and stay to that too. But this is really it. I've always thought, because people would tell me, and this would make me so angry. It's like, you know what? You're going through a hard time, but you should be the bigger person and you should. And I always thought, especially when it first happened, why do I need to be the bigger person?
Yeah.
Why do I need to make up for all of the things that they've done that I am sad about? I'm sorry that I contributed, but at the same time, I am angry.
Yeah, same.
So this is just one of the emotions. This is just one of the things. That's why we're having a whole bitch fest over it, is because this is just one of the things and one of the angles. And even in speaking to a therapist, which I have, and
same.
You do too, because that's the really healthy way to deal with this. They say you can talk about it. They say you can be angry, and that's okay. Don't hurt people. Even in doing this, we're not going to send you out a link to our ex's Snapchat.
Oh, we're not?
No, just his, actually. But we're not doing any of those things, so we don't feel like it's anything else than just kind of venting and having a good time.
Yeah, and sometimes it's funny. Sometimes the stuff that... It wasn't funny at the time.
No, but you have to have some dark humor to get through things like this.
Just for reference, I'm 2 years out of my marriage. We finalized things last year, but we separated 2 years ago.
Mine just happened at a year ago because, of course, Facebook Memories likes to do things like remind you of everything that was going on. So it was separation a year ago, but I've only been divorced since the beginning of June.
Yeah.
And so just
I'm
a couple
about
of months.
a year ahead
Yeah.
But you have another divorce on your...
You know what? I do, and I thought about that before I got here, too, because I thought, comparatively,
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about the first one or the first ex,
Sure.
because the good thing about this most recent divorce is that it has put into perspective what had happened the first time, and honestly, I have more respect for the whole situation and how that was dealt with, and that's the father of my children.
Yes.
And so, not that I'm inviting my kids to watch this by any means, but
Send them the link.
no. But I do have a respect for him and the way that was done, and so honestly, those are a lot of feelings not buried, but I'm okay with. It's all right. It is what it is. We both needed to move in different directions, so respectfully, I don't have a bitch fest about him.
Right. Good. Okay. So we're just talking about one ex each. But before we get started, we're both nerds as well.
Obviously.
I mean, cool nerds. But so give us a tour of the stuff you brought.
Okay,
here,
so
Emily.
we were funny. We called each other and we're like, bring some nerd stuff. And we were like, yeah, on it. Because we were able to just grab things so easily.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I brought my very much working VCR here. My kids even begged me to keep it. I have so many VHS tapes of theirs that they
nice.
prefer to still watch. So I've got I've got Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back in the VHS form. And this is before they were edited to the bullshit that they are
Fuck this special editions.
today. Oh my gosh! Wait, unless it is. No,
That is the special. I knew it. The
Shoot,
box.
I know I have some unboxed then. Okay, because
The ones
I
with the
really,
helmet and
oh
stuff
my gosh,
and
I
Yoda.
hate the special editions. I
Agreed.
don't like it. Leave it old school. Don't like it like that. But these are the ones I pulled. I also have Indiana Jones and the Last
And you're
Crusade.
clearly a big Star Wars
Oh my
fan.
gosh, huge Star Wars fan.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then I've got the Goonies because classic, especially on VHS. So that's what I've got. for now.
Nice. I love Star Wars. I also love Star Trek. So I brought my little Deanna Troi for her. Riker for me. Big Simpsons fan. Got my Chief Wiggum. 92 Olympics. This was when I was 10 years old. I got Magic Johnson. I could not find my Michael Jordan.
What did you drink in that primarily?
Dr. Pepper. 100%
Oh, okay.
Dr.
Okay.
Pepper.
All right. Sorry,
We-
I was a Kool-Aid kid.
We
so.
were a doctor. Oh, well, you grew up Mormon, so no
Yeah,
caffeine.
exactly.
And
but
then-
3 cups of sugar in a drink.
Yes.
No big deal.
Yeah. But yeah, we were a Dr. Pepper family for sure. This was from McDonald's. This Last Action Hero cup I found the other day from Burger King. Last Action Hero. Actually, a much better movie. And then I brought some books, comics, my movie guide.
What was the thing that said nerdy forever? or
Forever
something?
Nerdy.
Forever Nerdy.
So this is a book by one of my favorite stand-ups, Brian Posehn. He's a nerd as well. You can tell it's in the Star Wars font. And
How come all nerds like Star Wars? Why?
it's the original, it's the OG nerd thing. And he signed it to me and my ex. So
oh, you flashed the name.
well, no,
okay.
it was an amalgamation of our names.
Oh, okay. So you can't.
I'm gonna make up a fake name for her, but it's what I'll just call her Fedora.
Okay.
That was someone miscalled her that one time. Thought
And you
her
were
name.
like, that's
I'm
good.
like, Fedora works.
Well, that's okay. I did a couple of weeks ago. I did a podcast with my lawyer on a more serious note about some things, and I had to come up with fake names for everyone involved in case we brought it up.
Right.
And so I decided this is already going to be sad and traumatic. So I went with a theme, and I picked all characters from The Office.
You told me about that.
So I was Jan, and he's Michael.
Why? Oh, okay.
Because think about it, one of
Were
the
your
best
kids
episodes.
Jim and Pam?
No, I was like, let's not do that. But I did
Right.
have Dwight, Angela, Pam, and Phyllis. Those were the
okay.
names of the children
Nice.
had they all come up. So I thought it was funny. My lawyer thought it was funny. It
That
was
is
great.
that is funny. So
I mean, got to make light of it.
but yeah. So but we're gonna go ahead and get started. What do you want to complain about first?
I was trying to go kind of in order here,
Okay.
just because if
Sure.
you just go out with the worst things ever, I don't know
Yeah.
that that's the best. There was a lot of the questions I had here are what was can I read it?
Yeah.
So, things that hurt our financial life or our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's funny to bring up, but it is a big deal. I mean, you're just you.
Yeah.
I was me with a lot of children, and it really
Hella
changed a
kids.
lot of things. Yeah, hella kids.
We had hella dogs.
Okay, right. So hella other things to take care of that needed to eat, right?
Yeah.
So I was pretty devastated financially because we lived in a really big house, 2-income household, and all of a sudden it was like gone. And he expected me to live there with the one kid after a house full of 6 people getting married, growing up, things like that, going to college. It's me and one kid in this giant house. Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm rich. I'm just going to cover it. And he really kind of had that to be the plan. Like, oh, you guys will be fine. I'll just scoot out of here and it's no big deal.
Wait, so you don't have millions of dollars socked away to pay your...
I do like my job a lot, but I don't go there just for fun.
Yeah, no.
It's kind of for a reason. So financially, I was screwed.
Same.
And I had to find a way to sell the house and get out of it and move on. I'm just at the beginning of living in my new one. And what about you?
So my ex had a lot of medical issues, but she exacerbated them with drinking, drug abuse, whatever. So fully, when we separated, she was fully not going to work half the time. Luckily, we worked for a state agency, so she didn't get fired because FMLA and all that good stuff. But they didn't pay her when she didn't show up for work. So we were having to supplement our income in other ways, doing odd jobs, things like that. Or I was.
Oh, you were picking up the slack, literally.
Yeah, I was picking up some slack here and there, and it sucked, and I had to move back in with my mom because my ex not from around here, so she's still in the house I own. That's gonna get sorted. That's gonna get sorted out at some point. I mean, luckily she's paying the mortgage.
No, that sucks because I had to wait. I couldn't wait to get out of it and get free. Also lived with my parents whenever this happened. I had to move from this giant house.
Yay for the parents.
I know. Put things in storage and then find a new place, which was stressful.
Yeah.
But you know what? I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved living with the parents. It was a lot of fun.
It wasn't so bad. My mom liked for me to cook for her and stuff. And but me and her don't like the same kind of TV shows. Not really into the same pastimes. So it was like, oh, hey, Mom, let's watch Kimmy Schmidt. And she's like, I don't get it. So that is one thing. Me and my ex, we enjoyed a lot of the same stuff.
Right, TV shows, movies.
Yes, yeah. So it was kind of a bummer. Like, oh, I've got to finish watching Better Call Saul without her,
But at the same time, I'm going to watch that harder because I didn't want her to see it anyway.
But yeah, and also, as far as the lifestyle stuff, I was a big concert goer, still am. Concerts, movies, comedy shows, and I had tickets to so many things I didn't get to go to because she didn't feel like it, or she was having a bad day, or she got too drunk, or
and I feel sorry for you because at some point, as the husband, you're supposed to be there.
Oh, I was supportive as fuck.
And you're supposed to be supportive, and at the same time, to be like, do you know how much I paid for these? You take a nap, and I will see you later because we already paid for these, and you did this to yourself.
And this was not just like local stuff. I mean, she canceled trips with like my family, like, hey, we were going to go somewhere after Christmas one time, like Austin with my mom and stepdad. And she's like, no, I don't feel like it. I don't want to spend that much time with them. And I'm like, what the hell? So, hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars down the drain.
And that was even our next category too, was talking about family and how that affects.
Oh, yeah, right.
And not just me, because I had the kids, because I have more family than just my kids. So,
well, you were raised Mormon and you're also Latina, so
exactly. So
lots
it is
of family.
All family. Everything is family. So to think about like your particular situation, if I had to cancel a trip like that and devastate my family over my spouse, I would have been so furiously angry.
I was mad. But, what are you going to do with that?
But then you lose the money, too. And my family, of course, we've all been devastated all at the same time, like it happened to all of us. One thing in particular that really got hairy was my son got married in Las Vegas. He and his wife got married at the pirate ship at Treasure Island. It was the coolest thing ever. It was the best. Well, I was told probably a week to 5 days right before we were supposed to go, he said, you know what? I'm not going. Go by yourself.
Whoa, I don't know if you told me that.
No.
Motherfucker didn't want to come to his stepson's wedding.
I don't remember what it was that he was upset about, but he was like, you know what? Fuck this, fuck you, I'm not going to go. And so I was like, well, I'm going, but I didn't want to tell my family because I didn't want to stress them out. I didn't want to make it their problem because I was everyone was making their own way down there for us to be at this wedding.
Yeah.
And my ex was supposed to drive us. And so I was like, okay, my
y'all
kids
drove?
are already going with their dad. Oh, that was fun too. Go to your son's wedding with your ex and your new husband that doesn't want to be there. Total blast. And your elderly Mormon parents.
Wow. Well, they're not that old.
I mean, 70 and up.
Older-ish,
so,
yeah.
They get the discount.
Sure.
So, you know,
Oh, yeah, there you
that's
go.
actually the fun part about it. But he told me he wasn't going to go. So I got online and was looking at last minute plane tickets. And I thought, okay, here's my plan. I'll fly over there. I'll call my parents from the airport and be like, hey, guys, change of plans. Can someone come get me?
Wow.
I was going to do that for that important of an event in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wasn't not married after that. But he changed his mind and he went and he sort of hung out with us. And it was so obvious that he didn't want to be there.
Oh, yeah. You showed me the picture where he's like standing way to the side.
I cut it. I actually cut it out, cut him out because everybody else was in there. I was like, this was a good picture. So I cut him out since he stood way to the side anyway.
Hey, he did you a favor.
He did. I showed my parents the other day and my mom was like, I see it now because she couldn't even tell.
Just cut him out.
Because it was my son's wedding. I'm keeping that picture.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So family, they had the aftermath big time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, your mom even. Your
No,
other family members.
my mom, you know, she only has two boys, me and my little brother. So she would always call my ex-wife her girl. She's like, oh, that's my girl. And even though they had problems, they butted heads. You know, my dad died in a car accident 3 years after I got married. And my ex was kind of a bitch to my mom about her trauma, her grief. She didn't think she got over it quick enough. And then cut to 10 years later when her dad dies. Who's an old ass man, by the way. My dad was 47 when he died.
Yeah, he's
My
younger.
father-in-law was 78. My ex-father-in-law. So he'd lived a life. He was also a bastard. And but she was so upset and I'm like, you need to go to counseling and all this stuff. He was she had an abusive preacher dad and all this stuff. And she didn't want to go to counseling. She didn't want to deal with her bullshit trauma and everything. I'm just going to put that on my husband. And you wonder why we're not married anymore. Yeah, she put all kinds of crap after.
I didn't even plan on talking about this, but you bringing that up specifically, which we had talked about a little. My ex, his father passed away about 2 years ago, so during our marriage, and I involved his family greatly in what can I do to help, because I can't fix anything. So Mormons and Mexicans, all we know how to do is feed you. You know what I mean? Feed you and be hospitable.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. And so what I did was I took the family in. They were all at my house all the time. Everyone's eating. I'm buying food. People are bringing things. My family's bringing things to feed his family, and I'm catering to this family. Yeah. So cut to whenever my ex did decide to leave me, I found messages between he and his stepmom that were saying, oh, honey, I'm so glad that you decided to start life over again. Love you so much. Nobody told me.
Yeah.
Nobody told me, and I hold the hugest grudge, and here's me on the top of the bitch fest here going, I don't ever want to see any of those fucking people again that took advantage of me for that.
Oh, yeah. No, and I think I texted so me and my ex tried to stay friends after we separated because we always joked if we ever divorced, we would just stay roommates or something because no.
Great plan.
Mental health is bad. And, we'll get it more into that here in a little bit, but I didn't even consider reaching out to any of my in-laws or ex-in-laws because like there's a couple of my ex-wife's cousins. Her uncle passed away earlier this year. I felt really bad about that. He was a good guy. He always treated us well. Right. He also hated my ex's dad. Her uncle and her dad did not get along. Oh. He didn't even her uncle didn't even show up to her dad's deathbed. Her dad was such a bastard.
Oh,
so that's that. And he was the good one. He was the good brother.
Twisted family drama that you were like, that's a hard one though because you're like, I want to send my love and support.
Sure.
But should I be there? Is that even appropriate?
Yeah. That was rough.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the hard part because I have been married before and lost a whole side of in-laws family. But honestly, as good as we did that the first time, I am friends on Facebook with the kid's grandpa, so he gets to see all their pictures.
There you go.
Aunts and uncles, things like that. We're actually really good because the way that went. This other way, hell to the no, because everybody knew about it and helped sneak stuff out of my house when he was like secretly moving out. And they were like, oh, I'm just cleaning things out. My dad died and I'm giving my stuff to him. Yeah, that wasn't it. They were all helping him move out. So now I'm like this and this to everybody.
We're gonna help. Luckily, all of my in-laws are way up north.
Oh, okay. So you're not gonna run into them.
No, I'm not gonna run into them. Nobody. Or the ex-in-laws. They're either dead or 3 or 4 states away. So not gonna see them or anything.
Now, good for me. My ex, the actual person, he lives in a whole other state.
Yeah, I wish my ex did too.
See that's
instead
the
of
difference.
My fucking house.
I know, right? You drive by and like, there's my house.
Yeah,
it's not mine, but it's mine.
I don't really drive by there anymore.
Right?
Like, let's see how badly she's wrecked it now.
No. I avoid that at the same time too, because my house that I lived, it's a touchy subject. I mean, it's still there, but I have to drive by it to go to work in the mornings, and I'm just like this.
Yeah.
Or exactly. I'm like, mow that lawn. I don't know.
You should go see the new people that live there now. Like, just say, hey.
No, I wonder if they changed the door code. I just come in, guys, what's for breakfast?
But yeah, that's, I mean, we went through a lot, and I'm sure I put my ex through stuff, but you know what?
We did. We know we did. We can't say that we didn't.
That bitch don't have a podcast. And if she does, she can say what she wants.
And then we just don't watch it, and then who even cares?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the same thing. It's because it's like this touchy subject of like, well, keep your business, and don't put your business out there. Who is to tell me what's the right way to do that? And should I go and post horrible, like his social security number and bank statement? No, I'm not going to do things like that.
I have mine still memorized. I have her social and
mother's maiden name, everything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay. My first ex, though, it's funny. He always forgets the kids' birthdays. One time, my daughter walks in and she's just started wearing her natural curly hair recently. Nice. And she walked in and her dad goes, "Did you get a perm?" And she's like, "Dad."
Your oldest or your youngest?
My youngest. And she said, "Dad, this is my hair. I am your daughter. I got the curly from you, not even from mom." Anyway.
Isn't he bald?
Ing.
It's not so curly anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It really, I would say anybody that's going through a divorce, through a breakup, whatever, own your feelings. There's nothing wrong with, don't get too toxic. But
because there is a line.
Yeah, there is a line between toxicity and anger.
I nudge the line a lot. I know I do.
It's okay. I don't. There's nothing that you've ever said or done where I'm like, damn, Emily's fucked up. No, I completely I'm like, wow, I'm surprised you didn't go more ape shit.
I mean, I will say we wanted to talk about some of the worst things that happened.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, absolutely, the day of was the worst thing. But let me tell you, there was a guy cop and a girl cop, a very scary, tough girl cop. Uh-oh. And I was losing it because he called him to come to my house so he could remove his items from the house because he knew.
Did he even ask if he can?
No,
or did he just called the cops inapropos?
And then so we both show up. And I am screaming, losing it, crying, trying to process. And the girl got in my face and she yelled at me. And I was like, I will take it down.
Yeah.
I could get arrested. I can't change it by screaming louder. I am actually terrified. Ooh. Thank you, ma'am. Honestly, thank you, ma'am, for screaming in my face. They were the nicest 2 people throughout the rest of that situation right there. And I appreciate it because it got scary.
Oh, really? I've had dealings with cops that I've never felt like good afterwards. It was always like, fuck the police. But that's just me.
Well, I was like, fuck everything at that point. But at the same time, I was like, you could go to jail.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Maybe chill out. But it was just absolute rage. Once they calmed me down, they said, ma'am, listen, everything you're telling me is a good reason to be very upset. But let's just calm down. And I was like, okay, respectfully, I'm still crazy angry. And they said, that's fine. Let's get it together and let's move this inside of the house, not the driveway.
Right. That's probably for the best.
So tell me, before I go into one of mine, one of your worst things that happened personally to you because of the divorce. Like you looked at that and you're like, I should have done something about that.
Oh, well, you're talking pre-divorce?
Yes, like during the marriage where you're like, I can't believe I dealt with that. That was bad.
It was a lot. It was like... It was just little things that accumulated over time. But honestly, it was her she told me, I'm going to stop drinking so many times. We took a trip to see some family of hers a 10-hour drive away, literally 2-3 months before we separated. And she told me on the way there, because we were with her family, her family were not drinkers, not substance abusers at all. She came from very, very, we both came from very.
So she couldn't show up and really drink anyway?
No, not at all. And she told me, you know what, I'm not going to be able to drink for this 4 or 5 days. When we get home, I'm gonna stop drinking. Because she was mixing. And of course, as soon as we got home, it was gin, vodka. She was go through, a handle. Did
she make
every
it
week.
Through the 5 days though? Was she kind of a giant grouch or ill or?
I think she was operating on adrenaline and stuff, but she or not whatever. The high of being around her family because we didn't get to see them that often because they were so far away.
That makes sense.
And we were with an aunt and uncle, or 2 uncles and an aunt I'd never met before actually on her mom's side. And it was cool being around them and stuff. So I don't think the drinking, but as soon as we got home, it was back to the norm. And we actually we actually did have some drinks with one of my mom's cousins lives in the same town or the same area. So we actually got to spend some time with her and her daughter. So she had a few beers or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, she's not getting fucked up or anything. So we get back home, and the drinking just got worse and worse and worse. I don't know if she self-diagnosed, but she convinced our doctor that she had ADHD, and she started taking Adderall. You're not supposed to mix that with booze, and or
antidepressants,
it's
or a lot of things like that, which
or Xanax,
a lot of people do those things together. And it's you got to self-medicate or real medicate. Otherwise, they're really battling each other.
Yeah. So that for me was probably the biggest thing, just lying about, because I wanted her to be well and to treat her. But booze don't treat anything like that. But I saw her, be in a better mood when she would first start drinking, but then
because it was a little. She was like, "Hey, it was the happy drinking."
Yeah, exactly.
Spot.
She's like, "I've got a migraine. I'm going to do a couple shots of vodka until it goes away." And it works.
I was going to say, if you've ever had a migraine, you've at least considered it.
We were in Denver one time, and she's like, "I've got the worst migraine right now." So we went to a liquor store, and she chugged some Svedka. She's like, "I'm good now. Let's go have fun." Oh my gosh, yay! And that's one thing for vacation. It's another thing relying on it all the time.
That's not reality.
That was my probably the biggest thing. But most of the worst shit happened after we separated and divorced.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean. For better or for worse, did you feel safer even if the worst stuff happened? You could go home somewhere else and sleep safely?
Oh, I never felt unsafe with her. It was just like, we're fighting. I could go to Sonic or something or drive around if we were having a bad fight. And I did occasionally. But most of the time,
This brings me to the part where I admit I was the worst at fighting because... When I was married before, total pushover, cry, go sit in a corner, don't say anything about it, carry these horrible feelings.
That was first marriage?
First marriage, 15 years, that's all I did because I was like, this is not going to end well. So I get into the second one and I'm like, I will not be treated badly, which everyone was glad to see that. They're like, well, that's only the best way. No, actually, I took it to the extreme. Like if we were going to have a fight and he was like, well, if you'd stop acting like a bitch, and I'd be like, now we're fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. Here goes. You're not.
You just escalated.
Oh, you wanted to go out the door? Guess who's going with you?
Yeah.
I'm going to stand in front of it because honestly, he was a big guy. He could have picked me up like this and moved me over.
Like this?
I mean, exactly. And just moved me over.
Yeah.
But saying that. I take fault in that. I went a little too far. However, I want to bring up one story when people were like, well, what were you fighting about? Did he just not unload the dishwasher? No, absolutely not. That's just psycho abuse, which is what he's painted me to be. Even on all his Instagram and things like that, he escaped his abuser. Guys, this is how tall I am. I can't reach anything. Oh.
What are you, 5'1"?
5'1".
5'1".
So, he escaped his abuser. He's 6'1". Anyway, so this is what happened once that I'm not even sure I told you this
Did you use a knife?
No.
Was it a bat?
No.
What did you abuse him with?
Have you ever seen the Scary Eyes?
Not yet.
So one time he was having a panic on a Sunday and I was like, dude, what is wrong with you? You are in the craziest panic over something. He's like, look, I have a credit card and I was supposed to pay it, this minimum offer. I don't have my check-in, blah, 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 blah. He didn't have the money. I go, why didn't you just tell me? I'm your wife. We're
Yeah,
in this
you're
together.
the wife.
Let me cover it. And he said, well, I don't know. And I said, look, call the credit card company. Let me give them my card.
Yeah.
If you want to pay me back on that, that's fine. But you know what? We're married.
So y'all kept your finances
We
separate?
did keep them separate
Okay.
because from the first marriage, kept them together. That didn't
Yeah,
work out well.
sure,
So we
right.
decided to separate. So I didn't even know what kind of debt he had. So he's panicking over this payment. I said, I'm your wife.
Yeah. You're being a good wife.
Let's fix this. I didn't know. Let me take care of it. So he's got my debit card, and he's on the phone, speakerphone with the people, and he's going to give him the card. So he gave him the card number, and then you have to read the name on the card.
Right.
And so I'm going to totally give out my whole name here. I don't care. But my last name is Longoria. Now, when I was married,
Related to Ava?
yeah, we're cousins. Can't you tell?
You have $1 million.
So he's reading it off the card, and back then it was my married last name, which was his last name. So it was Emily.
Fuckface.
No, not the middle name, the last name.
Oh, Emily L. Fuckface.
Yes, there you go. So, now they can look him up.
Right.
So it was Emily L. and then my married last name. So there, how you do like the, what is the, whenever you're saying A as in this, B as in boy.
Yeah.
I forget what that's called. Anyway, so he gets to my name and they spell it out and they said middle initial and he said L. And he was trying to, be very clear. So he said L as in, my last name's Longoria, right?
Yeah.
He said L as in Lugo. That's his ex-girlfriend.
Whoa.
From years and years ago. Well, right before he met me,
Why couldn't he have said lion?
He was dating a 19-year-old
chop.
until she was 21, and then he married me, and he used her last name.
Uh-oh.
My last name, you're right, my last name is the L with Longoria. So he said that, and I was like,
yeah, that's a trigger.
Am I not supposed to get mad? Am I
How
supposed
long
to be
had
like,
y'all been married at that point?
6 years?
Oh, so this was like towards the end.
Yeah.
So, and he was like, E is in ex-girlfriend's last name.
Yes.
Wow, what a dipshit.
It was so triggering. And
Yeah, of
I
course,
mean,
of
it
course.
was things like that. Another time we both had COVID together. He was really sick that day.
Sure.
And he said that sick people are entitled to be assholes. This is what he told me. And I didn't know things. That's what he told me. And sorry, I'd never heard that before. So he knows that I was deeply religious and I believe in life after death and actually being with your spouse after this life. And he told me, he's like, I am so sick that I hope I die. And I hope whatever is on the other side, if it's what you believe, that I don't fucking see you there.
So he's like, I don't ever want to see you. Like, I mean, basically, that's like a slap in the face to a religious person.
Well, religious, I'm also your wife. Also, you're going to die. Also, fuck you. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't
Did he
have
think
to
he
take
was going to
this.
die of COVID?
He thought he was going to die if he got a sniffle. So
Too bad he didn't.
I mean, geez, he would do that. I'm like, dude, I have COVID too. I was coming in here to see if you needed something.
Right.
He insisted on his own room when he was sick.
Wow.
Leave me alone. Also, bring me something, but only if I ask you. I had COVID too.
Yeah.
He and I had it at the same time. I was trying to be a wife, and I was like, why can't we sit next to each other or lay in the same bed? We both have it, and we're married. He's like, absolutely not. Get out.
Jeez.
So if it's like, this is totally ridiculous, is me getting that mad ridiculous over shit like that?
Yeah. So that turned into a big blow up, and y'all.
I actually did contact a lawyer at that time. We didn't speak for a while in the same house. I mean, COVID did a lot of things to people.
Oh, yeah.
And you have things like that escalating on top of it. I asked to go back to work early and was released by the health department to go back to work early
wow.
because I was like, well, I can't stay here, and I did contact a lawyer, decided to let it go after about a month or so. But honestly, I probably should have left after that.
And it's funny because there are times where I'm like, I should have left at this point. I should have left at whatever. But, we didn't because I was committed to making it work.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would say this, but did you consider her your soulmate?
That is such a hard question.
It is, and I'd pre-thought about it because I would say that my second husband was my soulmate, even more than connected than I was to the first one. He and I were very close.
There's this concept that the soulmate thing is something that I, at different times in my life, I bought into. But when I was in college, before I was married, before I even had a serious relationship, I was probably 20, and it was in chapel. I went to a Christian university, and the speaker said, everybody's so obsessed with soulmates, and our chapel was probably had 800 to 1,000 people in this big auditorium. And he said, everyone's obsessed with soulmates, but I guarantee you, all of you that are single right now dating, there are probably a dozen people in this room that you can meet and be with and be just as equally happy. Now, hopefully you'll find somebody like that. You might find somebody that you won't be happy with.
Right.
And then that's why divorce happens and things like that. But I've always kind of operated off that way. If she'd have married anyone else, she wouldn't have been married 16 years. They would have...
Your level of
3 months in, when she locked herself in the bathroom and said she was going to kill herself because we had a very minor fight, I should have left. But you cared about her and loved her so much. You're like, exactly.
Hey, wait, I can help you.
I
can
tried to deal
fix
with
you.
this. Yeah,
I was the same way.
I couldn't fix her.
But we're dumb.
Tried.
We're dumb. We don't know that.
Okay. Well,
we're compassionate. We're loving, and
I
we
was
think
like
that
24
that's
years
possible.
old at the time. I thought I could do anything.
I was the same way. Not saying that I didn't also need a lot of that love and compassion too, and it did go two ways for a long time. But you're like, I didn't marry you to go, first hard day, out. But that's pretty extreme. That's the thing, is we should have seen the extremes.
Honestly, it was what a cunt she was after my after my dad died. After I should have when my ex-wife was shitty to me about the death of my dad, about my mom's grief, about all this shit. That's when I should have ended it, and I would have split up with her 15 years ago, 3 years into the marriage. Because if I'd have still been married, I would be married 18 years right now. I was only married 16, but
No, but I see what you're saying. And then, anniversaries and things come up.
Yeah, it's still,
marriage total, 2 of them together, was 22 years.
That's insane.
It is insane, because this is the thing. Now I'm sitting here.
Considering you're only like 29.
Oh, right. Yeah. My son's 23, but I'm 29. Of course, that's how that works. But really, when you think about how much you invest in that, and that's the thing. I don't want either of us to look at it and look back and go, well, you didn't try hard enough. Yeah. Really? Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of years.
Well, a friend of mine told me, when I told him when we separated, he's like, are you gonna go back? Are you thinking about moving back? I'm like, hell no. And he's like, I'm the same way, man. If me and because he's been married like 25 years. It's like, if me and my wife had ever had a fight bad enough or bad enough blow up that I moved out, I'd never go back. Like, I'll go sleep in the other room. I'll go stay at my mom's house. But if I'm fully moving out, I'm not moving back in. And that's how it was. I never moved back in. A house sat for her for a couple times. We still had dogs together.
Right.
When she was out of town. But yeah.
This time for me, I didn't even get the choice, but I'm still glad that I didn't, because I would have made the wrong decision had I allowed anything to come back. So that's why I was so upset initially when he left the way he did, as crazy as it was. Yeah. Sorry if I didn't give a lot of context. We did another podcast where we talked about this. And so he just told me he was leaving, going to live with the guy, moving to Nevada. Boom, you have no choice. Yeah. And so I started processing it from that very second. He's never coming back. And I had to think of it that way. Yeah. And that's why it was such a blow up. It wasn't like, well, you go stay there for a few days and then maybe we can talk about it. It was over. Yeah,
we tried to stay friends. We tried to, like, I would go and pick up the dogs. We'd take them to the dog park together. We went to the movies a few times. We never tried dating. It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, we want to stay friends, and she wouldn't make that possible. I mean, it all culminated with her assaulting me at my mom's house back in April. My mom had to call the cops. She was drunk. Not my mom, my ex-wife.
Not your mom.
My mom never has been drunk.
Come on.
But and since then we just don't really talk anymore, even though, still in a house together.
But and for anybody who might be a little judgmental about the fact that you tried that in the first place, look, do you know what it's like to be absolutely committed to and in love to someone and think, I'm never going to see him again? Because my trauma that I'm being seen as for counseling for right now is because I was left in one day. I didn't expect it. Yeah. And it's been a whole year. You don't see this person but in court.
With Justin Bieber hair.
With his Justin Bieber asshole look going on. Not even right now, Justin Bieber. That would be okay. 2012 Shaggy Bang Flip. No. Don't like that. But that gave me a little bit of closure. But just to think that was my love. That was my person. I do feel like he was my soulmate.
Right.
Now,
Not anymore.
But you haven't heard about a twin flame either. Don't we have to go on
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole other tangent for something like
twin
that?
Flames, yeah.
Twin flame, something different. But I did really feel a lot closer to him. So it was shocking. It was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I cry and I'm upset about it more and traumatized. That's why today the bitch fest. That's why I can say fuck the family that took advantage of me, didn't tell me he was leaving, let me pay for things and be at their worst moment where the patriarch of their family died.
You also helped raise his daughter for 7 years.
Oh yeah,
too.
I mean she was a
She
fifth
didn't
grader.
even mention that.
And then she went to college, and as soon as she went to college, he was out, and I was like, really? Because I love this kid so much, and I did that with my whole heart.
Yeah.
And you're just out.
Yeah. It wasn't as hard for me to leave since there wasn't kids involved, but we did have dogs. My favorite one, Winston, passed away 6 months before we split up. So
That's so sad.
It is, but you know what? He didn't have to see his mom and dad separate. So, but is there? We're wrapping up. Is there anything that you wish you had said?
I actually got a really good chance.
Okay.
This was a few months after the divorce, and one of my kids, who's 20 years old, spent the night with me, woke up crying, traumatized in the middle of the night over things. So I got up the next morning and I wrote the bitchiest of all bitchy emails that they read in court. And his lawyer tried to embarrass me with that because I let it rip.
Nice.
One thing to leave me and do all that. Another thing when my kids are crying at night and they're adults. And that was dumb. So I actually got to say all that I wanted to say. And it was really funny because I even talked about this with my lawyer on the podcast. She goes, did you call him a flaming bag of dog shit? And in court. And I said, no, correction. I actually said that's his family's name now because it already wasn't a good one. And now he took it from that to a flaming bag of dog shit. So no, not directly. His entire family's last name.
Hell yeah.
Boom. So I got to say that.
For me, I don't know. I feel like I said everything I wanted to say. We had a fight after her dad died because her dad was very abusive and everything. And the cause of a lot of our problems. Her mom, wonderful lady. Her family.
You've only said nice things about her mom.
My ex mother-in-law is a wonderful lady. My ex father-in-law. I say he's my double ex father-in-law because I'm not married to his daughter anymore, and he's dead. I told we had a bad fight, and this is one of those things that can never go unsaid. But I told her, as her husband, I'm glad he's dead because of all the trauma he caused her, and no one that caused that much trauma to his family should be alive anymore. So, and I did, I did when she sabotaged the sale of our house. That kind of was dealt the assault and everything. We had people looking at the house, and she let a bunch of cats live there, shit everywhere. Yeah, I wouldn't want to move back in, even if she did give me the house. But
no, you told me that, and it turned into like cat litter house.
Seriously, I'm not even joking. Like 4 or 5 litters of kittens have. She's still trying to adopt them out. So if you know my ex, call her up and adopt a bunch of kittens from her.
Actually, that would be a good. Yeah, save the kitties.
And I will say this: I ran into a friend who. He would probably not be happy with me that I said this, but I'm not going to say his name. I'm not saying my ex's name. He's a 2A guy. He's a very ingenuitive. She called him and asked, "Hey, how could I kill a bunch of kittens humanely?" Yeah, that's right. She knew she had a problem when she had fully 24 cats in her house. And if you let them live in your house, the city won't come take them. I don't know if you guys know that. Don't let your cats in your house. If you let them in your house and feed them, they are your cats, and the city of Lubbock Animal Control will not take them. So that's how she got 24 cats.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she just let them breed.
Predicament.
Yeah.
Poor kitties.
How have you dealt with this? You mentioned therapy earlier.
Therapy, family. I am so glad to have 1,000 kids. Mm-hmm. Also, as you're finding out, the funniest kids.
Yeah.
They are so funny.
She sends me TikToks and stuff.
Oh
I've
my
only
gosh.
met one of them, but
The funniest kids,
Yeah.
I swear. I'm going to be a grandma soon. Shout out to the grandmas.
29-year-old grandma.
I know. They're going to, Guinness Book World Record's going to call me. And just throwing myself into family, the amount of support that I get,
Yeah.
therapy from a professional.
yes.
Oh my goodness. And just having a great professional. If anybody has ever thought, I don't know about therapy, you can go through it and you can actually not find the right one.
Oh, yeah,
And
I've
maybe
had a
need
bad
to
one.
shop around. I've actually gone to counseling over the years
Yeah.
for both of my marriages, marriage counseling and individual.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like individual counseling is the most therapeutic.
Yeah.
You're able to say what you
Fully.
want. You don't have to stumble over things. I say go the right way. This is also therapy, though.
Yeah,
this
for sure.
really is.
Yeah, podcast, green screen, toys on the table,
Yes.
Rattlesnake Roy podcast.
I mean, really. I mean, you get to sit over here and have a
Snake
bitch
Pit
fest.
Studios.
Nobody told us what not to say today.
But
say whatever we want.
But I started going to a counselor as soon as we separated. My sister-in-law is a counselor, my brother's wife, and she recommended someone. Shout out Correa. I'm seeing her in about an hour
Yay.
again, and it's great. I couldn't be in a better place right now, both mentally, physically healthy, doing podcasts, doing comedy, and Do you have any final thoughts?
You know what? This actually was a lot more tame than I thought it was
Oh,
going to
so
be
tame.
because he and I were talking over this week and we were both like, I'm just listening to like Thunderstruck, like just ready to get over here and rock. And then I know, but then you get here and then reality hits you and it's funny. I said, you know what? We're going to be surprised. There's going to be some sad things in there too because honestly, it's sad.
Yeah.
This isn't a place where we wanted to be.
Divorce sucks.
But we're making the best of it.
Yeah.
We're friends. We're doing this. We're doing comedy. I did it once. It was a little scary.
Yeah.
I'm going to try it again.
Try it again.
But you know what? It's about moving on and accepting what happened and taking
Word.
care of yourself. So we can be medium toxic.
Yeah. Medium
And that's what
toxic.
this is medium toxic.
I'm in real only on podcasts and in comedy. Am I toxic?
Yeah,
not
exactly.
in real life.
Oh, he's so nice. Yeah, exactly.
But I just would encourage anybody going through this. Therapy's great. Try couples therapy first, and if that doesn't work, one-on-one talk therapy, and
then if not, just come to the open mic that he
Yeah.
does and do some stand-up
Yeah.
and just, like I said, middle finger the whole thing
Yeah.
and have some dark humor.
Bar PM Thursday nights. We do a stand-up comedy open mic, and thanks to Roy and Snake Pit Studios. And,
yes, thank you.
Awesome first episode. I'm happy. I'm excited to do more.
I know, this was so much fun. We missed you, Lori. Come and join us next time.
Yes. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.